Thank you for joining us for the Holy Cross High School Theater Ensemble presentation of Pygmalion. The COVID-19 global pandemic has required the performing arts community to use new and innovative platforms to present their work, and I am proud to say that the students of Holy Cross have risen to the challenge. From script adaptations to costuming and filming, this talented cast and crew have been directly involved in every aspect of production. I would like to thank our parents and families for their commitment and cooperation. I would like to thank Ms. Meese or Mrs. D'Angelo for their work, and a special thank you to Ms. Von Bergen, who took this upon herself to give our students an opportunity to perform, to show their talents, and especially for our seniors for one last time to be able to perform here for Holy Cross High School. I hope you enjoy the show.
I'm getting chilled to the bone. What can Freddy be doing all this time? He's been gone 20 minutes.
Not so long, but he ought to have got his cap by this. We can't stand here until 11:30. It's too cold.
I wonder if he even tried at all.
Poor boy. We must have won. He can't have tried.
Are we staying with Jeff until 11:30?
He really is very helpless.
And what about us? Are we the same as Jeff all night and next to nothing on? He's a selfish pig.
Oh, no, then, look where you're going, dear. There's manners for you. 2 bunches of bullets trod into the mud. Don't you do bones like a mother should. Touching to spoil a poor girl's flowers who run away about to pay her. Will you pay me for them?
Do nothing of the sort, Mother. The idea.
Please allow me, Clara. Have you any pennies?
No, I've nothing smaller than 6 pence.
I can give you change for a tanner, kind lady.
Give it to me. Now, this is for your flowers.
Thank you kindly, lady.
Make her give you the change. Even if you're only a bunch.
Do hold your tongue, Clara. You can keep the change.
Oh, thank you kindly, lady.
6 pence thrown away. Really, Mama?
Oh, sir, is there any sign of it stopping? I'm afraid not. It got worse than ever about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, dear. If it's worse, it's a sign it's nearly over. So, cheer up, Captain, and buy a flower for poor girl.
I haven't any change.
I can give you change, Captain.
For 7? I've nothing less.
Oh, gone. Do buy a flower for me, Captain. I can change half a crown. Take this for 2 pence.
Now, don't be troublesome. There's a good girl. I really haven't any change. Stop. Here's 3 habits, if it's of any use to you.
Thank you, sir.
You be careful. Give him a flower for it. There's a man behind you taking down every blessed word you're saying.
I ain't done nothing wrong by speaking to a gentleman. I've a right to sell flowers if I keep off the curb. I'm a respectable girl, so help me. I never spoke to him except to ask him to buy a flower off me. Oh, sir, don't let him lay a charge on me. You don't know what it means to me. They'll take away my character and throw me on the streets for speaking to gentlemen. While they...
Oh, there. Who's hurting you, you silly girl? What do you take me for?
It's all right. He's a gentleman. Look at his boots. He thought you was a copper's narc, sir.
What's a copper's knock?
It's a copper's narc, as you might say. A sort of informer.
I take my Bible oath. I never said a word...
Shut up. Do I look like a policeman?
Then what did you take down my words for? How do I know whether or not you took me down right? You just showed me what you wrote about me. What's that? That ain't proper writing. I can't read that.
Well, I can. Cheer up, Captain. Ain't all your flower off a poor girl.
It's because I called him Captain. Oh, sir, don't let him lay a charge on me for...
Charge? I'm making no charge. But really, sir, if you are a detective, you need not begin protecting me against annoying young women until I ask you. Anybody could see that the girl meant no harm.
How do you come to be up so far east? You were born in Innocent Grove.
Oh, what harm is there in my leaving Lissing Crow? It wasn't fit for a pig to live in, and I had to pay 4 and 6 a week. Oh, boo!
Live where you like, but stop that noise.
Come, he can't touch you. You have a right to live where you please.
I'm a good girl, I am. Ain't no call to matter with me, he ain't. But let him say what he likes. I don't want to have no truck with him. But he's no gentle. He's not to speak of such things.
What could Freddie be doing all this time? I should have been willing if I sing this chair any longer.
Earl's Court.
Will you please keep your impertinent remarks to yourself?
Did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. I beg your pardon. Your mother's Epsom, unmistakably.
How very curious. I was spoken large lady talking at some.
Ha ha! What a devil of a name! Excuse me. You want a cab, do you?
Don't dare speak to me.
Oh, please, Sarah. We shall be so grateful to you, sir, if you found us a cab. Oh, thank you.
He's no right to take away my character. My character is the same to me as any lady's.
I don't know whether you've noticed it, but the rain stopped about 2 minutes ago.
So it has. Why didn't you say so before? And is losing our time listening to your silliness?
What, make people like that? How would he like it himself?
It's quite fine now, Sarah. We can walk to the motor bus. Come.
But the cab. And Freddie. Oh, how tiresome.
Oh, poor girl. Hard enough for her to live without being worried and threatened.
How do you do it, if I may ask?
Simply phonetics, the science of speech. That's my profession, also my hobby. Happy is the man who can make a living by his hobby. You can spot an Irishman or a Yorkshireman by his brogue. I can place any man within 6 miles. I can place him within 2 miles in London, sometimes within 2 streets.
Ought to be ashamed of himself, a manly coward.
Is there a living map?
Oh yes, quite a fat one. This is an age of upstarts. Men begin in Kentish Town with £80 a year and end up in Park Lane with 100,000. They want to drop Kentish Town, but they give themselves away every time they open their mouths. Now I can teach
Let
them.
him mind his own business and leave the poor girl.
Woman, cease this detestable boo-hooing instantly, or else seek the shelter of some other place of worship.
I've a right to be if I like, same as you.
A woman who utters such depressing and detestable sounds has no right to be anywhere, no right to live. Remember that you are a human being with a soul and the divine gift of articulate speech, and that your native language is the language of Shakespeare and the Bible. And don't sit there crooning like a bilious pigeon. Heavens! What a sound!
Oh, God.
You see this creature with her curbstone English. The English that will keep her in the gutter till the end of her days. Well, sir, in 3 months I could pass that girl off as a duchess at an ambassador's garden party. I could even get her a place as lady's maid or shop assistant. That's the sort of thing I do for commercial millionaires. And on the profits, I do genuine scientific work in phonetics.
I myself speak with Indian dialects, and
Are you? Do you know Colonel Pickering, author of spoken Sanskrit?
I am Colonel Pickering. Who are you?
Henry Higgins, author of Higgins's Universal Alphabet.
I came from India to meet you.
I was going to India to meet you.
Where do you live?
27A Wimpole Street. Come and stay with me.
I'm at the Carlton. Come with me now. Let's have a dog with some supper.
Right you are.
Buy a flower, kind gentleman. I'm short for my lodging.
I really haven't any change. I'm sorry.
Liar, you said you could change half a crown.
You ought to be stuck with nails. You ought. Here, take the whole bloom basket for 6 pence.
A reminder.
I'm taking a cab home.
A young woman is here to see you, sir.
A young woman? What does she want?
Well, she says you'll be glad to see what she came about. I should have sent her away, only I thought maybe I could have you talk her into your machines. I hope I've not done wrong, but you see such strange people sometimes. You'll excuse me, I'm sure, sir.
That's quite all right, Mrs. Pierce. Has she an interesting accent?
Oh, something dreadful indeed. I don't see how you can take an interest in it.
Let's have her on. Show her up, Mrs. Pierce.
Very well, that's for you to say.
This is a rather little dock.
This is the young woman, sir.
Why, this is the girl I jotted down last night. She's of no use. I've got all the records I want of the Listen Grove lingo. Be off with you.
Don't you be so saucy. You haven't know what I've come for yet. Did you tell him I come in a taxi?
Nonsense, girl. What does a gentleman like Mr. Higgins care what you pay?
Oh, we are quite proud. He ain't above giving lessons, not him. I heard him say so. Well, I ain't come here for any compliment, and if my money's not good enough, I can go elsewhere.
Good enough for what?
Good enough for you. Now you know, don't you? I've come to have lessons and to pay for them, make no mistake.
Well, what do you expect me to say to you?
Well, if you was a gentleman, you might ask me to sit down, I think. Don't I tell you I'm bringing you business?
Pickering, shall we ask this baggage to sit down, or shall we throw her out of the window?
Oh, I wouldn't be called a baggage when I'm offered to pay like any lady.
What is it you want, my girl?
I want to be a lady in a flower shop instead of selling at the corner of Tottenham Court Road. But they won't take me unless I can talk more gentle. He said he could teach me. Well, here I am, ready to pay him, not asking for any favors. And he treats me as if I was dirt.
How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl to think you can afford to pay Mr. Higgins?
Why shouldn't I? I know lessons cost as well as you do, and I'm ready to pay for them.
How much?
Now you're talking. I thought you'd come off it when you saw a chance of getting a bit back of what you chucked at me last night.
Sit down.
Oh, if you're going to make a compliment of it.
Sit down.
Sit down. Do as you're told, girl. Won't you sit down?
I don't mind if I do.
What is your name?
Liza Doolittle.
Eliza. Elizabeth. Betsy and Bess. They went to the woods to get a bird's nest.
They found a nest with 4 eggs in it.
They took one apiece and left 3 in it.
Don't be silly.
Don't talk to the gentleman.
Well, why won't he speak sensible to me?
Come back to business. How much do you propose to pay me for these lessons?
A lady friend of mine gets French lessons for 18 pence an hour from a real French gentleman. Well, you wouldn't have the face to ask me the same for teaching me my own language as you would for French. So I won't give more than a shilling. Take it or leave it.
You know, Pickering, if you consider a shilling not as a simple shilling, but as a percentage of this girl's outcome, it works out as fully equivalent to 60 or 70 guineas from a millionaire.
How so?
Figure it out. A millionaire has about 150 pounds a day. She earns about half a crown.
Who told you that I...
By George, it's enormous. It's the biggest offer I've ever had.
150 pounds? What are you talking about? I never offered you 150
Hold
pounds.
your tongue.
But I don't got 150 pounds.
Don't cry, you silly girl. Sit down. Nobody is going to touch your money.
Somebody is going to touch you with a broomstick if you don't stop sniveling. Now sit down.
Oh, I would think he was my father.
If I decided to teach you, I'll be worse than 2 fathers to you.
Nonsense. It's no use talking to her like that, Mr. Higgins.
Higgins. I'm interested. What about the ambassador's garden party? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive. You can make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't. And I'll pay for the lessons.
Oh, you are real good. Thank you, Captain.
It's almost irresistible. She's so deliciously low, so horribly dirty.
Oh, I ain't dirty. I wash my face and hands before I come, I did.
You're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery, Higgins.
Don't say that, sir. There's more ways than one of turning a girl's head, and no one can do it better than Mr. Higgins. Although I do hope you don't encourage him to do anything foolish.
I shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutter snipe.
Oh!
Yes, in 6 months. In 3, if she has a good ear and a quick tongue, I'll take her anywhere and pass her up as anything.
Yes, but...
Bundle her off to the bathroom. Take all her clothes off and burn them. Ring up Whitley or someone else for new ones. You can wrap her up in brown paper till they come.
You're no gentleman. You're not to speak of such things. I'm a good girl, I am.
But no place to put her.
Put her in the dustbin.
Oh, what?
Higgins, be reasonable.
Do be reasonable, Mr. Higgins. Really, you must. Is she to be paid anything?
Pay her whatever is necessary.
Does it occur to you, Higgins, that the girl has some feelings?
Oh no, I don't think so. Not any feelings that we need bother about. Have you, Eliza?
I got my feelings, same as anyone else.
You see the difficulty.
What difficulty?
To get her to talk grammar. The mere pronunciation is easy enough.
Don't want to talk grammar. I want to talk like a lady.
Just stick to the point, Mr. Higgins. I want to know on what terms is she to be here? Is she to have any wages? You must think of the future a little.
Well, we'll do whatever is necessary, Mrs. Pierce. Bundle her off to the bathroom. If she gives you any trouble, wallop her.
No, I'll call the police, I will.
Be sensible.
I didn't want no clothes. I wouldn't have taken them. I can buy my own clothes.
You're an ungrateful, wicked girl. This is my return for offering to take you out of the gutter and dress you beautifully and make a lady of you.
You're tempting the girl. It's not right.
No, Eliza. Do as this lady does. Think of other people's futures, but never think of your own. Think of chocolates and taxis and gold and diamonds.
No, I don't want no gold and no diamonds. I'm a good girl, I am.
You shall remain so, Eliza, under the care of Mrs. Pierce.
Excuse me, Higgins, but I really must interfere. Mrs. Pierce is quite right. If this girl is to put herself in your hands for 6 months for an experiment in teaching, she must understand thoroughly what she's doing.
Well, how can she? She's incapable of understanding anything. Besides, do any of us understand what we are doing? If we did, would we ever do it?
Very clever, Higgins, but not sound sense. Miss Doolittle.
There, that's all you'll get out of Eliza. No use explaining. As a military man, you ought to know that. Now, give the girl her orders. That's what she wants. Eliza, you are to live here for the next 6 months, learning to speak beautifully, like a lady in a florist's shop. If you're good and do whatever you're told, you shall sleep in a proper bedroom and have lots to eat and money to buy chocolates and take rides in taxis. If you're naughty and idle, you will sleep in the back kitchen among the black beetles and be walloped by Mrs. Pierce with a broomstick. Now are you satisfied, Pickering? Can I put it more plainly and fairly, Mrs. Pierce?
I think I'd better talk to the girl properly in private. I don't know that I can take charge or consent to anything, but I know you mean well, sir. You never think or care what may happen to them now. Come with me, wife.
Well, what I say is right. If I'd known what I was getting myself in for, I never would have come here. I've always been a good girl, and I never offered to say a word to him. And I don't owe him nothing, and I don't care. And I won't be put up upon, and I have my feelings the same as anyone else.
Excuse the straight question, Higgins. Are you a man of good character where women are concerned?
Have you ever met a man of good character where women are concerned?
Yes, very frequently.
Pickering, we have taken on a stiff job.
Higgins, we have.
What are you doing here today?
Oh, bother.
It's my at-home day. You promised not to come.
I know, Mother. I came on purpose.
But you mustn't. I'm serious, Henry. You offend all my friends. They stop coming whenever they need you.
Nonsense. I know I have no small talk, but people don't mind.
Oh, don't they? Small talk. What about your large talk? Really, you must instead.
I must. I have a job for you. A phonetic job.
What's that?
Well, this isn't a phonetic job.
You said what?
Well, not your part of it. You see, I picked up a girl.
Does that mean some girl has picked you up?
No, not at all. I don't mean a love affair.
What a pity.
Why?
You know you would do if you really loved me, Henry?
Oh, bother what? Marry, I suppose?
No. Stop fidgeting and put your hands under the tongue. That's the boy. Now tell me about the girl.
She's coming to see you.
I don't remember asking her.
You didn't. I asked her. If you'd known her, you wouldn't have asked her.
Indeed. Why?
Well, see, it's like this. She's a common flower girl. I picked her off the curbstone.
And invited her to my at-home?
That'll be all right. I taught her to speak properly. And she has strict orders as to her behavior. She's to keep to two subjects. The weather and everyone's health. Fine day and how do you do, you know. And not to go on things in general. That'll be safe.
See? Talk about our health, about our insides, perhaps about our outsides. How can you be so silly, Henry?
Oh, that'll be all right. Don't you fuss. Pickering is in it with me. I have a sort of bet on that I'll pass her off as a duchess in 6 months. I've been working on her for some months now, and she's getting on like a house on fire. I shall win my bet. She has a quick ear, but she's been easier to teach than my middle-class pupils, because she's had to learn a complete new language. She talks English almost as you talk French.
Well, that's satisfactory at all of us.
Well, it is and it isn't.
What does that mean?
You see, I've got her pronunciation down all right. But you must not consider how a girl pronounces, but also what she pronounces. And that's where...
This is Miss Iris Bruno.
Oh, Lord.
How do you do? How do you do? My son Henry. You're celebrating fun. I have so long to meet you, Professor Higgins.
Delighted.
How do you do?
I've seen you somewhere before. I haven't the ghost of a notion where, but I've heard your voice. It doesn't matter. You've got to sit down.
I'm sorry to say that my celebrated son has no manners. You mustn't mind him. I don't. Not at all.
Oh, have I been rude? I didn't mean to be. I beg your pardon.
Colonel Pickering. How do you do? How do you do?
We were interrupted. Darn it.
Oh, Henry, really. Lead the way. No. You want to see her?
right, George. We want 2 or 3 people. You'll do as well as anyone else.
Mr. and Virgilla's gone to the park for the evening.
Well, here we are anyhow. And now, what the devil are we going to talk about until Eliza comes?
Henry, you are the life and soul of the Royal Society Suarez, but you're really rather kind on more commonplace occasions.
Am I? Very sorry. Well, I suppose I am, you know.
I sympathize. I haven't any small talk. If people don't be frank and say what they really think.
Lord forbid.
But why?
What they think and what they ought to think is bad enough, Lord knows. But what they really think would break up the whole show.
Is it so very cynical?
Cynical? Who the dickens said it was cynical? I mean, it wouldn't be decent.
Oh, I'm sure you don't mean that, Mr. Higgins.
You see, we're all savages, more or less. We're supposed to be all cultured and civilized, to know all about poetry and philosophy and art and science. But how many of us know even the meanings of these names? What the devil do you imagine I know of philosophy?
Or of manners, Henry? Miss Doolittle.
Here she is, Mother.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins? Mr. Higgins.
Quite right. I'm very glad to see you. How do you do, Miss Doolittle?
Colonel Pickering, is it not?
I feel sure we have met before, Miss Doolittle. I remember your eyes.
How do you do?
My daughter Clara.
How do you do?
How do you do?
By George, yes, it all comes back to me. Covent Garden. What a darn thing.
Henry! Don't sit on my table. You'll break it.
Sorry.
I do sure. I hope it won't take hold. There's so much influenza about. It runs to my whole family regularly every spring.
My aunt died of influenza. So they said. But it's my belief they done the old woman in.
Done her in.
Yes, Lord love you. Why should she die of influenza? She come through diphtheria right enough the year before. I saw her with my own eyes. Fairly blue with it she was. They all thought she was dead. But my father, he kept ladling gin down her throat till she came up so sudden that she bit the bowl right off the spoon.
Dear me!
What call should a woman with that strength in her have to die of influenza? What's become of her new straw hat that should have come to me? Somebody pinched it. And what I say is, them that pinched it done her in.
What does doing her in mean?
Oh, that's the new small talk. To do a person in means to kill them.
You surely don't believe your aunt was killed, do you?
Do I not? Them she lived with would have killed her for a hat, and let alone a hat.
But it can't have been right for you to pull the cold spirits down her throat like that. It might have killed her.
Not her. Gin was mother's milk to her. Besides, my father drank enough. He knew the good of it.
Do you mean he drank?
Drank my words, something chronic.
How dreadful for you!
Not a bit. He never kept it up often.
fine.
Well, I really can't bring myself to use that word.
No, that's not compulsory, you know. You get on quite well about it.
Only Clara's so down on me if I'm not totally reeking with the latest slang. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You mustn't mind Clara. We're so cool, and yet she gets so few parties, poor child. She doesn't quite know. But the boy is nice, don't you think so?
That's quite nice. I shall always be delighted to see you.
Thank you, dear. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, is Eliza presentable?
Of course she's not presentable, you silly boy. She's a triumph of your art and of the dressmakers. But if you assume for 1 second that she doesn't give herself away every sentence she utters, you must be totally cracked about her.
But don't you think something might be done? I mean something to eliminate the sanguinary element from the speech.
Not as long as she's in Henry's hands.
Do you mean that my language is improper?
Oh no, dear. It would be quite proper. Said at a calabash. But not for her at a garden party.
Well, I must say,
Tom, you must let me know yourself. I haven't said language since yours. We used to review the volunteers at Hyde Park 20 years ago.
well, if you say so. I suppose I don't always talk like a bishop.
Colonel Pickering, will you tell me the exact street in Winkle Street?
I come to live there with Henry. We work together at my Indian dialect, and we think it's more convenient.
Quite so. I know all about that. It's an excellent arrangement. But where does this girl live?
With us, of course. Where would she live?
But on what terms? Is she a servant? If not, what is she?
I think I know what you mean, Higgins.
Well, dash me if I do. I've had to work at the girl every day for months to get her to her present pitch. Besides, she's useful. She knows where my things are and remembers my appointments and so forth.
And Mrs. Pierce is very fond of her, too.
Oh, yes. Mrs. Pierce is jolly glad to have so much taken off her hands. But before Eliza came, she had to find things that remind me of my appointments. She's got some silly bee in her bonnet about Eliza, though. She keeps saying, "You don't think, sir." Doesn't she, Pig?
Yes, that's the formula. You don't think, sir. That's at the end of every conversation about Eliza.
As if I ever stopped thinking about her confounded vowels and consonants.
Well, aren't you a pretty pair of babies, playing with your minor dog?
I say, just wish to have a relative these things lying about.
Chuck them over the chair. She'll find them in the morning and put them away. I wonder what the devil I've done with my slippers.
Eliza was a great success. I'm sure Frey will ask to marry him soon.
What a day. What silly tomfoolery.
Well, I feel a bit tired. Rather too much of a good thing. But you've won your bet, Higgins. Eliza did the trick and something to spare.
Thank God it's over.
Who knew this was the garden party? I was. Eliza seemed a bit nervous.
Oh no, she wasn't nervous. I knew she'd be alright. No, it's the strain of putting the job through all these months that has told on me. It was interesting enough at first, while we were at the phonetics. But after that, I got deadly sick of it. If I hadn't backed myself to do it, I should have chucked the whole thing up 2 months ago. It was a silly notion. The whole thing has been a bore.
Oh, come on. Not until you strikingly exciting. Might not be anything like anything.
Yes, for the first 3 minutes. But when I saw we were going to win hands down, I felt like a bear in a cage, hanging about doing nothing. The dinner party was worse. sitting gorging there for over an hour, with nobody but a darned fool of a fashionable woman to talk to. I tell you, Pickering, never again for me. No more artificial duchesses. The whole thing has been simple purgatory.
You've never been broken and called me so routine. I rather enjoy getting into it occasionally myself. It makes me feel young again. Anyhow, it was a great success. An immense success. I was quite frightened when you tried because Eliza was doing it so well. You see, most of the real people can't get it. And with such fools, there could be style comes by making people in their position, and so they never learn. There's always something professional about doing it, you know?
Yes, that's what drives me mad. The silly people don't know their own silly business. However, it's over and done with, and I can go to bed at last without dreading tomorrow.
I think I should tell you too. Still, it's been a great week. A triumph. Good night.
Goodbye. Oh, put out the light, Eliza. Tell Mrs. Pierce not to make coffee for me in the morning. I'll take tea. What the devil I've done with my slippers?
There are your slippers. In there. Take your slippers and may you never have a day's luck with them.
What on earth? What's the matter? Anything wrong?
Nothing wrong. With you, I won your bet for you, haven't I? That's enough for you. I go to that, I suppose.
You! You won my bet! Presumptuous insect! I won it! What did you throw those slippers at me for?
Why didn't you leave me where you pulled me out of? In the gutter! You thank God it's all over and now you throw me back again there, do you?
Creature is nervous after all. How dare you show your temper to me? Sit down and be quiet.
What's to become of me?
How the devil should I know what becomes of you? What does it matter what becomes of you?
I know you don't care. You wouldn't care if I was dead. I'm nothing to you, not as much as them slippers.
Those slippers.
Those slippers. I didn't think it made any difference now.
Why have you begun going on like this? May I ask whether you complain of your treatment here?
No, but I
Has anybody behaved to you badly? Colonel Pickering, Mrs. Pierce, any of the servants?
no.
I presume you don't pretend that I have treated you badly.
No.
I'm glad to hear it. Perhaps you're tired after the strain of the day. You go to bed like a good girl. Sleep it off. Have a little cry and say your prayers, and that'll make you comfortable.
I heard your prayers. Thank God it's all over.
Well, don't you thank God it's all over? Now you are free and you can do what you like.
What am I fit for? What have you left me fit for? Where am I to go? What am I to do? What's to become of me?
Oh, that's what's bothering you, is it? Well, I shouldn't bother about it if I were you. You should imagine you won't have much difficulty in settling yourself somewhere or other. Though, I hadn't quite realized you were going away. You might marry, you know. You see, Eliza, not all men are confirmed old bachelors like me and the Colonel. Most men are the marrying sort. Poor devils. And you're not bad looking. You're quite a pleasure to look at sometimes. Not now, of course, because you're crying and looking as ugly as the very devil. But when you're all right and quite yourself, you're what I should call attractive. That is to the people in the marrying line, you understand. You go to bed and have a good night's rest. And then get up and look at yourself in the mirror and you won't feel so cheap. I dare say my mother could find some chap or other who'd do very well.
What else am I to do?
Oh, lots of things. What about your old idea of a florist's shop? Pickering could set you up in one. He's lots of money. Forgot something.
Your slippers.
Oh, yes. You threw them at me.
Before you go, sir, do my clothes belong to me or to Colonel Pickering?
What the devil use would they be to Pickering?
You might want them for the next girl you pick up to experiment on.
Is that the way you feel toward
I
her?
don't want to hear anything else about this. I just want to know whether anything I have belongs to me. My own clothes were burnt.
But what does it matter? Why need you start bothering about that in the middle of the night?
I want to know what I may take away. I don't want to accuse of stealing.
You have caused me to lose my temper. A thing that has hardly ever happened to me before. I prefer to say nothing more tonight. I'm going to bed.
You had better leave a note for Mrs. Pierce sometime, for she won't be told by me.
Mr. Henry, ma'am, is downstairs with the colonel.
Well, show them up.
They're using the telephone. Telephoning to the police, I think.
What?
Mr. Henry is in a state, ma'am. I thought I'd better tell you.
If you had told me that Mr. Henry was not in the state, it would have been more surprising. Tell them to come up when they finish with the police. I suppose he's lost something.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask Miss Doolittle not to come down until I send for her. Tell her that Henry and the Colonel are here.
Yes, ma'am.
Look here, Mother. Here's a confounded thing.
Yes, dear. Good morning. What is it?
Eliza's bolted.
You must have frightened her.
Frightened her? Nonsense. She was left as usual to the lights out and all that. And instead of going to bed, she changed her clothes and went right off. Her bed wasn't slept in. She came in a cab for her things before 7 this morning, and that fool, Mrs. Pierce, let her go without telling me a thing about it. What am I to do?
Do it thou, I'm afraid, Henry. The girl has the perfect right to leave if she chooses.
But I can't find anything. I don't know what appointments I've got. I'm just...
Good morning, Mrs. Higgins.
Has Henry told you?
What does that ass of an inspector say? Have you offered a reward?
You don't need to say that you sent the police after Eliza.
Well, what are the police for? Of course we did.
The inspector made a lot of difficulties. I really think he suspected of some improper purpose.
Well, of course he did. What right have you to go to the police and give the girl's name as if she were a thief or a lost umbrella or something? Really?
But we want to find her.
We can't let her go like this, you know, Mrs. Higgins. What are we to do? You have no more sense, either of you, than two children. Ask Miss Doolittle to come down. Yes, ma'am.
Where the devil is that girl? Are you to wait here all day?
Good evening, Professor Higgins. Are you quite well?
Am I?
Of course you are. You are never ill. So pleased to see you again, Colonel Pickering. Quite chilly this evening, isn't it?
Don't you dare try this game on me. I taught it to you and it doesn't take me in. Now get up and come home and don't be a fool.
Oh, Henry.
Do you know what began my real education?
What?
You're calling me Miss Doolittle. That day when I first came to Wimpole Street. That was the beginning of self-respect for me. And there were 100 little things that you did that you never noticed because it came naturally to you. Things about standing up and taking off your hat and opening doors and...
Oh, that's nothing.
Yes, things that showed what you thought and felt about me as if I were something better than a scullery maid. Though, of course, I know you would have been just the same if a scullery maid had been let into the drawing room. You never took off your boots in the dining room when I was there.
Well, you mustn't mind that. Higgins takes his boots off all over the place.
I know, I'm not blaming him. It is his way, isn't it? But it made such a difference that you never did it. You see, the difference between a lady and a flower girl is not how she acts, but how she's treated. I shall always be a flower girl, Professor Higgins, because he always treats me as one, and he always will. But I know I can be a lady to you, because you always treat me as a lady, and you always will.
Well, this is really very nice of you, Miss Doolittle.
Please, I should like you to call me Eliza now, if you would.
Thank you. Eliza, of course.
And I should like Professor Higgins to call me Miss Doolittle.
I'll see you done first.
Henry.
Why don't you just line back there? You'll do him a lot of good.
I can't. I could have once before, but now I can't go back to it. You see, last night when I was wandering about, a girl spoke to me and I tried to get back into the old way with her, but there was no use. You told me, that when a child is brought to a foreign country, it picks up the language within 2 weeks and gets its own. Well, I'm a child in your country. I forgot my own language and I can speak nothing but yours. That's the real break-off at the corner of Tottenham Court Road. Even Wimpole Street finishes it.
Oh, but you're coming back to Wimpole Street, aren't you? You'll forgive Henry?
And I treat the Duchess as if she were a flower girl.
I see. The same to everybody.
It's not whether I have treated you rudely, but whether you've seen me treat anyone else better.
I don't care how you treat me. I don't mind your swearing at me. But I will not be passed over.
Get out of my way, for I won't stop you. You talk about me as if I were a motor bus.
So you are a motor bus. I'll bounce and go with no consideration for anyone else. But I can do without you. Don't think I can't.
I know you can. I told you you could.
I know you dinky brute. You wanted to get rid of me.
Liar.
Thank you.
You've never asked yourself, I suppose, whether I could do without you.
Don't try to get round me. You'll have to do without me.
I can do without anybody. I have my own soul, my own spark of divine fire. But I shall miss you, Eliza. I have learned something from your idiotic notions. I confess that humbly and gratefully. And I have grown accustomed to your voice and appearance. I like them, rather.
Well, you have them both on your gramophone and in your book of photographs. When you feel lonely without me, you can turn the machine on. It's got no feelings to hurt. What am I to come back for?
For the fun of it. That's why I took you on.
And you may throw me out the next day if I don't do everything you want me to?
Yes, and you may walk out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want me to. Do you want me to be as infatuated about you as Freddie? Is that it?
No, it's not. That's not the sort of feeling I want from you. And don't you think it? I could have been a bad girl if I'd liked. I've seen more of some things than you for all your learning. Girls like me can drag gentlemen down to make love to them easy enough, and they wish each other dead the next moment.
Well, of course they do. Then what on earth are we quarreling about?
I want a little kindness. I know I'm a common, ignorant girl, and you a bookworm gentleman, but I am not dirt under your feet. What I did was not for the taxis and the dresses. I did it because we were pleasant together, and I came to care for you, not to want you to make love to me and not forgetting the difference between us. but something more friendly-like.
That's just how I feel, and how Pickering feels. Eliza, you're a fool.
That is not a proper answer to give me. You never thought of the trouble it would make for me.
Would the world ever have been made if its maker was afraid of making trouble? Making life means making trouble. And there's only one way of getting rid of trouble, and that's killing things. Cowards, you notice, are always shrieking to have some troublesome people killed.
I don't notice things like that. I'm no preacher. I notice that you don't notice me.
Eliza, you're an idiot.
That is not a proper thing to say to me. I've always had chaps wanting me that way. Freddie Hill, he writes to me twice and 3 times a day, sheets and sheets.
Darn his impudence.
He has a right to if he likes, poor lad, and he does love me.
You have no right to encourage him.
Every girl has a right to be loved.
What? By fools like that?
Freddie is not a fool. And if he's poor and weak and wants me, maybe he would make me happier than my betters that don't want me and bully me.
Can he make anything of you? That's the point.
Well, perhaps I could make something of him. But I never thought of either of us making anything of each other. And you never think of anything else. I only want to be natural. I'm leaving.
Goodbye, Mother. Oh, Eliza, order a ham and a Stilton cheese, will you? And buy a new pair of reindeer gloves, number 8s, and as tight to match that new suit of mine, at Elin Bidman's. You can choose the color.
Buy them yourself.
I'm afraid you explored that girl, Henry. But don't worry, dear. I'll buy you the kind gloves.
Oh, don't bother. She'll buy him all right enough. Goodbye.